Talking Tottenham, a fantasyfocus.com production.
Welcome, everyone, to episode 166 of Talking Tottenham. Bucky, joined as always by Danny Shakes. Did you just flash a card pack in my face?
I did, Buck. A Panini Prism, the 220-21s. Should I open it right here?
Yeah. Rip it open. That's got the Harry Kane?
Do you think it does?
I hope it has the Harry Kane.
It's got, like,
I had to let the people see your pack opening style.
You want? Okay. I usually go back end.
Yeah.
And then it apparently doesn't open on live podcasting. There it goes. You see on the back first. Then
I don't like seeing the back one first because that's always the best card.
No, not always. But
Most
this
times.
one happens to be. Eberici Easy.
Eze. From Crystal Palace. It's a good looking card.
Michael Antonio, throwing that one out.
Spurs killer.
Jake Livermore from West Brom. See you in the championship.
So many West Broms in these packs. It's like they packed them after the season.
Tyler Roberts on Leeds, Emergent Star card.
I like that one.
It's a little weak pack, though.
That's a weak pack.
It's all right.
You got
the
a
next
dud.
one I'm due.
You got an absolute dud right there. How do you feel when you open up a dud?
You know, it's a little bit of a letdown, but it still doesn't match the high of opening the pack. So I'm still net positive on the experience.
Well, because even as you turn each card and it's shit after shit, you're like, the next one's going to be amazing. And then you get hit with that Emergent series on the back and you're like, nah, this is crap.
Or I don't like the firework one.
It's kind of like your favorite pizzeria that is delivered. And every time you go, you're like, this is just a standard, 7.9 pizza. It's not the best in the world, but it's solid. You get that one like 5.9. That one dud pizza, it can just soil your thoughts on that place moving forward.
For sure. And in this situation, it's like I brought my friends to that place. Open the pack right here on the pod.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. You brought some prospects in. Oh, great pizza every time. And then it's like they got a brand new chef back there tossing up the pizza pies. And
you asked for Maria. She's not there today. You're like, oh, shit. I'm already looking like a fool. The product doesn't meet it.
Yeah, you bring in this guy, Fabio Paratici, and he comes in, starts trying to make pie and can't make much of it. Folks, there has been much movement on the transfer front. We do apparently have something in the works with a goalkeeper from Atalanta, Pierluigi. What is it?
Golini.
Paratici
looking for those Italian ingredients for his pizza.
Is Golini Italian for goalkeeper or goal?
Hopefully goalkeeper.
Yeah.
Otherwise he was misnamed.
I would have some concerns if that were the case.
Maybe it's golden hands.
It could be. Shakes, I did a thing yesterday. I have you to blame. So I did a thing for which I will blame you, that I wanted to air my grievance live on this show. So you stayed in town at my Ghost Palace last Wednesday evening. That was lovely. We attempted a podcast, folks. It was not able to happen due to some technological issues that we were having here, trying to get both of us going. Really, it was just that our two fat faces combined were too much for the camera to handle. So we could not go live for the people. We felt like we were saving ourselves, but we were really looking out for you. So consider yourselves saved. And you can blame Danny Shakes on that, because obviously the camera holds my fat face well, but it can't hold both of our faces. And mine is significantly fatter than Shakes. But you stayed here and you roll in around 9 o'clock and you brought Taco Bell. I hadn't had fast food at that point for 3 months. I woke up yesterday morning around 8 o'clock and in my brain, I was like, lunchtime McDonald's. And I went full fat guy move McDonald's. I'm talking 3 cheeseburgers, a large fry, a 10-piece McNugget, and a large Coke. A $13 McDonald's order. And
holy shit.
It was absolutely delicious.
So
I ate every last bit of it.
I was the gatekeeper drug dealer in this scenario.
You gave me the weed. I went to the cocaine right after that.
and probably the heroin and the PCP, like everything on top of it. Because
The
you said
McDonald's was the heroin. Yeah.
3 cheeseburgers and the 10-piece. You went fries too?
Large fry.
Was this all one sitting, or were you like, all right, then I got left over for a couple calls? When I'm refreshing Twitter at 3 p.m. No, this was. Did you dine in?
Dead into it.
Did you dine in just to not be okay?
I will say this: if I'm on the road, I'll dine in at McDonald's, but otherwise, I love bringing it home, putting it all on a plate, unraveling like 16 of those ketchup packets and the sweet and sour sauces, and just going to town. It leaves an absolute mess in the place.
You dine in, and they're like, "Sir, we need 2 trays for this order." Good call with the spicy Coke, though. I'm a big fan of the Coke. Might as well go all out. It would have been great if you went Diet Coke after that.
I mean, I think it was like an 1,800 calorie meal. It was
probably.
It was ugly. It was ugly, and I didn't move. I don't think I got out of boxer shorts except to go get in the car, go to McDonald's. I probably didn't even really need to, considering I live amongst ghosts. So I could have easily just walked out to my car wearing boxer shorts. But I'm trying to class it up a little bit for the ghoulish figures that haunt this place.
You probably could. And yes, just another day went by where I didn't see a single soul. There actually were a lot of vehicles in the parking lot. So not sure, like I guess all the neighbors or somewhere around there using your parking lot, because surely they're not in your apartment complex, Bucks. There's nobody there.
Counterpoint, I own that fleet of vehicles.
You have a used car lot on the side?
Yeah, and I pay guys to come and move them about all day. All right, go take it around the block for a bit, then park in this other spot.
Speaking of selling like old washed up cars, Spurs transfers out. How do you like that segue? 0 movement whatsoever. We're now 27 days from starting this season. Granted, you get a little bit extra window time for the transfers, but I'm a little concerned, Bucks, that it's pretty much money that's in-house. I don't know, unless you see like this flip, Dave plus money for a player or something like that is rooted in a swap. I feel like I haven't read anything since Surge to PSG like 3 months ago, and that apparently isn't happening.
I'm concerned about outlaying these players. We spent a lot of time, like nearly an hour last episode, reviewing who we felt should be leaving, what we felt some appropriate price tags were on those players. I'm very upset that not one damn thing has happened so far and we have a few listener questions surrounding, well, unless we do sell Kane, unless we sell a good chunk of these players, who are we expecting to bring in? At what point are we going to be looking for marquee players that can really just bolster up our defense, bolster up our midfield, get a good striker in there to back up Kane or take the mantle from Kane? Because it's not Dane Scarlett, despite a good showing. We'll get into Leyton Orient here in a bit. A lot to talk about there. And then it was just good to see Spurs playing, but there's a lot of criticisms I have for just a few question marks I have about who we threw out there.
I need to drink a little bit more on this podcast before we talk Leyton Orient.
That's fair. We can talk about the outgoing problem that we're having. I think we all know what the elephant in the room is. It's that it doesn't seem like we're able to bend whatsoever for whatever the quote unquote valuation is on these players in one person's mind. And if we don't hit that number, he's going to make it a negotiation hell, and then nobody wants to touch us. So at what point as a fan base, even if you just take yourself away and you look at this with an objective stance, why in the world does it seem like Levy is totally unworkable? Like, you can't work with him. You're always working against him. And I mean, if I'm a third party, let's say I root for Everton or somebody like that, and I'm not picking on Everton, but do you want to do business with Spurs, like to purchase a player?
No, it sounds like getting 3 root canals. I wouldn't want to deal with that at all, Bucks. And it does feel like it's just going to be the same old story as the previous years, which is, like you said, you don't hit the valuation that one particular person thinks of all these players, and therefore that player now is stuck on the team. And that player knows they were trying to get transferred out, so now it's already bitter between the player and the team. And then you have like Danny Rose situation or whatever, where these players have been shopped, but they never got sold. And it just creates like even a worse clubhouse on top of it. I mean, Paratici needs to figure out some sort of spreadsheet that shows this cost benefit analysis of like taking off some players where even if you're taking like a haircut 10, 15, 20% because of a pandemic and you can even sell it that way, it's still better for the greater good of the team. It's not about the deal bucks. It's about the deal you think you got. So Levy needs to understand he's just got to look at it like with these longer term goggles on and understand that he's going to realize this deal was still worth doing when he looks back.
I would say, all right, if you value a player at 13 or 14 million and a team, the highest offer you have on the board is 9 million. 9 million today is a hell of a lot more valuable than 0 million in a year and a half.
Yeah, especially when in theory a lot of buys are at a discount, right? Yeah. So if you do get a good deal and you watch the appreciation with the players' hopeful good play, but then also with just the market getting better, you should hopefully see that made up, whatever that discrepancy that you think the numbers are.
Yeah, or you start stockpiling players that you no longer need. They don't match with the manager's vision. There's a whole list of things. I like your it's like getting 3 root canals in one day. I would imagine negotiating with Daniel Levy is similar to you have an 8-hour road trip. You can't stop to piss. You can't stop to get food. You can't stop to use the actual sit-down toilet, which you might use to piss, but I don't. But you're on this road trip, and the only song that plays on repeat is Rebecca Black's Friday for 8 hours.
The fact that you're still taking 8-hour road trips, Bucks, we've discussed this. Anything over 4, I'm driving. I'm flying.
I'm good on the road. I'm good on the road. I like driving. You are not a big man. All right. We're about the same height. You might have a half, like quarter inch on me or something like that, but we're about the same height.
Big admission.
Yeah. But I probably have a solid 60 pounds on you. And I'm just a wide body. Flying is the opposite of comfort for me. I get massive travel anxiety. I don't when I'm driving. I like driving. I like being able to stop at my leisure, stretch my legs. I like stopping at various tourist traps. I'm a big tourist trap guy. Every time I go through I-75 through Georgia, I stop at the Pecan Mansion. Mansion.
What draws your attention? The billboard? Like, how does one get hooked by the
Pecan Mansion
trap? Or that. Yeah. Like, are you reading up on it? Are you like, let's check my drive? Like, is there a website that has tourist traps? That'd be a fun website. Like you plug in your coordinates, your trip, and it just lists like 12 places where you could just get lost for 2 hours for no fucking reason.
I'm a sucker for cheap laughs. And these tourist traps, it's nothing but cheap laughs. But with the Pecan Mansion, this is actually deeply rooted in me by my father. So growing up, I think part of it, Shakes, to be honest with you, when you grew up and you guys took vacations, did you fly oftentimes?
So that's a good point. I was one of 3, though, and we never really vacationed far. We weren't like, let's hop in a plane and fly to New York City. So we did drive a lot. I get that part.
We always drove.
So it's like a nostalgia thing.
We drove from Florida to Colorado for a 2-week
vacation
never do that.
Once.
We drove from Florida to San Francisco once. Like, we're driving family. It's deeply rooted in me. But every time we go through Southern Georgia and the Pecan Mansion signs kept popping up, my dad had to pull over for a pecan log every single time. And I do the same thing. It's deeply rooted within me. And I can't get past it.
At least it's not boiled peanuts.
Oh, wait a second. You don't like boileds?
Hate them. I'm from the north. I'm not a southern guy. You know that.
Yeah, I do know that. But at the same time, boiled peanuts are fantastic.
Nope. Can't do them, Buck. Can't do them.
All right. Listeners,
would you drive in a train?
Oh, I would love a train.
Okay. So it's not so much, it's just like the mess of getting to an airport terminal and just finding your way and then getting on. It's like the whole like progression of it, I guess, because you don't really have like an anxiety of flying, right? So it's more just.
I used to not. I do now.
Huh.
Yeah. I've developed a major fear of heights over the last 5 to 6 years.
Well, with my other line of work, if you want to talk life insurance, something like that, man, we can.
Did I reveal on here? I know we're wandering far away, but I love bantering.
Well, this is on Spurs. They have nothing to give us to talk about.
Very true. It's on Daniel Levy, which brings us full circle. But I have the fear of heights has gotten really bad. It's really hard to describe. I'm sure there's a lot of listeners out there that have similar fears of heights, like balconies drive me nuts. But I was at Dick's Sporting Goods, which is a sporting goods store, massive sporting goods store here in the States. And it's always 2 stories for the most part. And they have this one walkway on the second floor. It's kind of open concept. And the second floor kind of wraps around the perimeter, but there's a little bridge in between the both sides.
A catwalk?
A catwalk, yeah, that does not have support, right? Obviously, the support is built into the foundational structure and the engineering behind this. But, Shakes, I got to be honest with you. Crossing that, I tried to do it the other day. I took 3 steps and had to turn around. I couldn't even cross it. That's how crippling it is. I'm turning into a crazy person. I blame Daniel Levy.
I do too, Bucks. We could really we'll pick this scab more. We can move on though, because now I have questions about bridges, the bullet train that goes like 200 miles an hour. If it's like more of a speed thing too. No. We'll dive into all these other things later.
I like dirty speed.
I do get for drivers out there. There's the nostalgia feel. Understand that if that's how you traveled growing up. There's also the in charge of your own domain, like get that part too. You leave when you want, you stop when you want.
You're comfortable.
It's all on you. Yeah, it's a comfortable thing, but just for me, it's like once we get to so many hours, it's convenience. I just need to be there.
I also like to pivot on podcasts when I fly, and so sometimes you download episodes. This might be a Spotify issue, but you download episodes and they don't stick. Like it says downloaded, but you go to play it, it doesn't work on the plane. That's frustrating. You strike me as an airplane go in-flight wireless guy.
Yeah. With the Amex Platinum, you usually get free logins. So I have like a whole setup for that. I'm always at the airport lounge getting sauce for my flight back. Yeah,
you have a different approach to it.
Yeah.
A more sophisticated approach.
I mean, the airport could be miserable. I just try to make the best of it.
Serious question.
What's up?
Serious question here. Do you handle your business before you get to the airport or when you get to the airport?
Always before if I can. If not, though, it's nice to have the club lounge or the 1-minute suites, those available for you. The suites also, I remember I watched once. What
is the 1-minute suite?
You can book for like 15-minute intervals, and I did it for like 3 hours when I was there early after a meeting, where it's like you get your own little like dorm room.
Really?
So it's like, nice? Yeah, you get like a bed, you got a couch, you got a little desk area, and just you can crank out work. I remember watching Liverpool versus Barcelona, the game where Barca won 3-0. Messi hit the awesome free kick, and then Liverpool came back and won 4-0 to advance. Yep. So that was the last time I did one of those.
How much is that run for like 30 minutes, an hour?
Oh, I don't remember, bucks, some company, but it's not like egregious.
I just want to know if I was eligible.
You might be. Just drop my name. Let me know the airport you're at. Drop the name, and I'll let you know who to talk to.
Serious question, though. Do Spurs offload anyone?
Yes, right? But are you starting to get worried that it's less than 3?
Yes, very
Me
worried.
Too. Like I'm just.
This seems like the easy part of the equation is getting rid of players.
It really does.
Why is it so goddamn difficult then?
It is a combination of also no one else wants to buy because they don't have money. As one of our listeners, Ian Ferguson, pointed out, like some of the Spanish and Italian leagues, like if you're not some of the big names, I mean, you might have like the thinnest pocketbook ever. So then it's just like if you don't want Sissoko or you don't want Serge Aurier, you're just looking at other players. There's just such a bigger player pool versus what the demand of the market is. So that obviously would push down prices, which Levy doesn't want to deal with. And here we are. It's just not like this crazy influx. It'll be interesting to see when this is all said and done, Bucks, just what the transfer numbers are for this year versus last year. And then the year before and the year before that when we had no pandemic. I bet it's going to be like, who knows, 50% of what like the high was at one point, back when everything was fluid in 2019, 2018. So that part also is hurting Spurs right now. You could make the argument that then if you sold someone that was still in demand, i.e. Kane, then you'd have a shit ton of money to go on an awesome buying spree to take advantage of this situation. So, that's why it's interesting. I know Haaland's going to stay at Dortmund, but makes you wonder if now would have been the shrewd time to, really how much more are you going to get for him this year versus next year? And I know you still think about Champions League and stuff like that, but I still think they'd qualify. So maybe now's the time to capitalize on something like that and just buy away. Or if you are selling an Mbappe or someone that's just straight up, market proof as far as just their, the desire for other clubs to pick them up.
When you're 4 players away, you got to get rid of that one player. You just have to. Because it's ripe for the picking to get in there right now and get players that would have been valued at 55 at 40. So selling Harry Kane would open up the floodgates. But are you convinced that we would even reinvest that? At this stage, we're so late to the dance. We can't even get a nice little slow dance with the crush. It seems like it would have to be one of those, hey, you want to meet up at Whataburger after the game or after the dance.
The other thing, too, is everyone kind of saw this coming. So for it to come to fruition is also extra frustrating. It's we should have lined up our prospects, figured out the dance beforehand. But no, we're caught flat footed the Wednesday night before. And
we don't have a tux.
Yeah, now you're scramble drill. Straight up scramble drill.
We show up in just a Adidas jumpsuit.
Well, all your friends have these coordinated plans. You're like, oh, and you're like, well, you never asked. Never said anything. Yeah, we're all meeting up at Tim's. Then we're going from here to there. Someone got a limo. We're at capacity. Sorry.
Were you the organizer for your dances?
For a while with my group of friends, I was, but I was happy not to be. So, it's you kind of want to do it 1 or 2 times. And then after that, you're like, no, I don't want to deal with this shit.
You pass the torch.
Yeah. I feel I'm the commissioner in our fantasy football league.
Where's the draft this year?
It is in Chicago.
Ooh.
Yeah. You want to go?
Is that your choice?
Yeah, I picked it. I won last year. My first win ever.
Where are you staying up there?
We're staying in River North area.
I love River North.
Yeah, I've been told it's an excellent spot from our boots on the ground buddy, Anchor, college buddy of yours and I. Yeah.
Yeah. Anchor lives up there?
He does.
Oh, good for Anchor.
Yeah, he's going to come with us to a Cubs game. It'll be fun.
Oh, you guys are going to have a blast. I do not want to come.
Yeah, you don't have to come. That's fine.
I get used and abused for my voice there.
You were the auctioneer once for us. Thank you.
I run quite the show.
Yes, sir. I bought you a lot of McDonald's for that.
You did quite a bit. I'm very thankful for it. Shoot, man. Leyton Orient. First preseason match. We have to. That was painful. Painful from team selection. I understand we're coming off Euro. Marquee players are going to get a breather. But at the same time, I had a few concerns. I think we got to start with the most glaring concern. It was Dele and his Dale Doback tattoo that someone on Twitter has just basically drilled in on as saying mindless tattoos. He's got a Dale Doback quote on his forearm out there for everybody to see. And he played like Dale Doback against Leyton Orient. Your thoughts on that performance, Shakes?
Well, I just don't know. The performance of getting the tattoo, I feel like he lost a bet. That's where I arrive in on that, Buck. But yeah, I think that was the main take of the first half is sure Spurs got a goal eventually in the 38th minute, which was well worked. It was a Winks to Lucas to the goal scorer. Was it Scarlett?
It was Scarlett.
Dane Scarlett,
great finish.
Who had a great finish. Yeah, first touch, sized up the keeper, went to the far corner. But, other than that kind of moment, I was just kind of bummed out watching Dele run around thinking this guy should be owning everyone. He was in the semifinals of the World Cup 3 years ago. And then you start thinking about that with Lucas and Winks and, a bunch of these other starters. Eric Dyer didn't have to do much, but he started out there and it wasn't
good.
It's not like he was putting any pressure situations where it'd be interesting to watch how he handled, playing the ball out from the back, with them breathing down his neck. But that was the part. I mean, Steve too. Also, I think Steve Bergvine put in a great shift. I mean, he ran around. It's just it felt like there were these players that, based off their pedigree and their prior performance history, they just should have gotten more than 4 shots on net in that half or whatever it was.
They absolutely should have. The whole thing.
And I get it. Desire. It's an exhibition. You know, you knew there was going to be a wholesale change, which there was. We basically traded out every outfield player like in the 60th minute or something. But I just felt like I should have saw like Delhi a man amongst boys there.
We didn't. It looked like the same Delhi we've seen for 2 years, and just color me concerned on the Delhi front right now, because this has to be the year that he does something. Maybe he's just working back into shape, but per his Instagram, he's been working out harder than ever, Shakes. The hardest he's ever worked out.
How'd you feel about where he played? Kind of like more on the left side, and Spurs had to go with a 4-3-3. Granted, that was more because you had Dave coming back from Copa, Rodin over at Euros with Toby. But it was an interesting setup and where they played Delhi, and then he tried to come back like super far back to get the ball.
At a certain point, it was like he was
like a holding midfielder.
Yeah.
Like I know it's almost like he was on display for Nuno, and he's just like, all right, man, show me what you got, and just nothing was happening.
So I feel that tactically we're going to be a mess here in the preseason, trying to feel things out, Euros, all that. So I'm not going to be too concerned. I was a bit worried, like 25 minutes in, trying to figure out what our setup even was. It just looked a bit disorienting. Obviously, the 2 fullbacks were completely new faces. There was Cisse and the other fellow on the right-hand side who I actually like that fellow on the right-hand side. I can't pronounce his name yet, but we will get to that point, I'm sure, in like 6 years. But it looked okay.
Or whatever.
Yeah. I liked him. Yeah, I liked him.
Yeah, he played bad. Niall John, who maybe his name should be John Niall, put in a shift.
He was good. I like that guy. I wanted to ask you, we had a question from a listener, considering it was Brian Lozen, I believe, surrounding we need kind of that setup creative midfielder that we're currently lacking. I feel that Niall John could pull off that job. And I know this is Leyton Orient, but he played well. I really enjoyed what he brought to the table. I thought he was creative. I thought he was flashy. And I think he was a little bit less bullshit than Ndombele. I'm just saying, I know the kid is very young, but I would like to see him a part of this squad and not out on loan, and to get some real action here. Because, Shakes, I think we need to face the music here. What we're looking at currently, and we'll talk about incoming transfers, but I hate to break it to you listeners out there, nothing that we will list will excite you. There's nothing out there that excites me, and I'm confident that nothing out there will excite you as far as the names that we're hearing. I mean, Jules Koundé, it does excite me a bit. The price tag just seems so steep, but I just think we need to think outside of the box. We need to think like a club that is in rebuild mode. And I would love to see some of the younger players get a lot more first team action in the Prem. And it's going to be painful. It's not going to be that fun, but I'm talking about future. We need to establish who we have. We're not going to pay. And it seems like we're just sitting on our hands, and we're not getting anything done as far as getting the money in that we need to spend the money out. So I don't know. I would like to see that young kid get a shake, because I thought he was one of the most impressive players on the pitch.
Well, I mean, he played for the under 18 team until under 23 team last year. So yeah. I think what he's playing for right now is just a loan spot, Bucks. Do I want him in the plans 5 years from now? Of course. It's just at 18 years old at attacking midfield. I mean, I just expect more out of Dele Alli to make sure that he ekes out Niall John for that spot. With that said, though, I do think he played pretty good and he kind of fit in. I mean, he was playing up there with Winks, Dele, Lucas, and Steve, and then Dane Scarlett. So, I mean, he didn't look like completely lost amongst those front 6 players. But I just think you got to develop players a different route. I mean, can't just punt on the season after this first Leyton Orient exhibition match. But I do get the sentiment that you have, which is this could be a rough go for Spurs this year. And, you don't get the right players in, or just none get transferred out. Next thing you know, you're looking at a real lean transfer in out list, followed by some tired players starting Euros, got some big games coming up right at the beginning. Like, shit could go downhill a little quick here. So I just feel like let's not pull the plug on it until later on. And then maybe you are going to make, give the youth that are playing in this Europa Conference even more looks, like in things like FA, and then maybe even in the Prem. But we can't go that far down this road yet.
I'm willing to go down the road. It's been a trend for me.
You're worrying me, man. You're worrying me.
Yeah,
man.
I've been. I'm not going to say
know
his
transfer value on Transfer Market.
Yeah, like $600K,
220.
Hell yeah.
Put
Talk
him in
about
there.
Value. Put him in. Put him in.
He didn't play bad. I'm not. So I don't mean this as all as disrespectful. I just feel like we need to wait a couple of years for this kid.
It's time for me to rant for a minute. I've noticed this about myself, and I'm calling myself out. At this stage in my Spurs fanhood, I think I'm hitting rock bottom. I love the club. I'll always love the club. But I've just had it up to here watching the same performance, the same stale movements, the same players. And I'm starting to think that upper management, Daniel Levy, whoever it is unwilling to make those ballsy moves, those costly moves to improve the club here and now, to win now. So if I see talented youth, see Tanganga, right? See Roden, I see Skip. I want those guys in because at least those are players we already have. And if we want to build something that will be sustainable, sure, you don't want to get relegated. But I think we have enough.
I like how it's like your approach is like throw the hands up, like fuck it. We don't want to bring anyone else in. We know it's going to suck. Let's just go with what we got.
I kind of feel
bring in the talent, the youth talent.
You're missing the broader point. I'm not saying let's go and line up the team we played against Leyton Orient against Man City. What I'm saying is I think we can sprinkle in the youths, and get them in there. And I think I would have more fun watching them learn, grow, mature, become better players, score a goal. I think I would just have a better time watching that than watching the same older senior players fail.
Would you rather Spurs?
It sounds crazy to say it, and just saying it out loud actually is quite a therapeutic exercise. Obviously, we're not in the middle of a season, so Linda and I do not talk much about my soccer obsession. But it's one of those things where it's nice to just say it. I think the reset button is here, and that's the last I'm going to say. Reset. I want to see these guys get a chance to thrive, because at what point do you pull that ripcord? I do feel that Delhi, as a 19-year-old, we pulled the ripcord. Now, Delhi was an absolute stud at that age. But what I saw from Niall John was just as impressive as the young Delhi. And it's Leyton Orient. It's a lot different than going to Crystal Palace. I'm just saying.
Now I got to look up Delhi's stats at 19. I'm pretty sure he had like 20 goals and 17 assists or something in the Prem. So I think you got to – it sucks because that's the situation that we're in. So I get, where the depression comes from, Bucks. Would you rather Spurs be like Dortmund? Like the name of the game is basically just like find like the fiery youth and like grow them for a couple years and then just get, cash in on them. But so it's like you're never like keeping those guys. But
no, I
at the
think
same time, it's kind of fun and exciting.
I think we have a good set of youths. By the way, I've been watching so much Sopranos lately. I started a rewatch like 2 weeks ago. I'm already on season 4, episode 8. First time ever rewatching. What a picture. What a program.
Let's see here. Delhi had 18 goals.
He was 20 then, though.
Yeah. 10 goals. You're not getting that from Niall John, 19. With all due respect to Niall. Like he
Did you see that turnaround he had?
He had a good one, man, against Leyton Orient. You're right. Wait till that's Gundogan on Man City.
I don't think he's going to be taking Gundogan on in the box.
Yeah.
At least I
mean,
hope he's not.
it does feel like we're just in this stagnant state where you have this
Yeah,
old
these
guard.
shows feel repetitive, man. We need some real action. I need to get pissed again. That's my issue. I've got no emotions. They've completely numbed me. I'm comfortably numb, Shakes. I'm Pink Floyd.
Is it like what brings you back, Bucks? Is it Spurs get this signing of like some young stud, and then it's kind of like the next Ndombele signing, which jury's still out on where that's going to go, but you need someone to like just get straight up excited about and how that person will completely affect the play of the entire team.
I think the only signing that I've even heard whispers on that would get me real fired up would be Weston McKennie. That's it.
Oh, don't say that to me, man. I need to pause this thing.
Why?
That'd because it'd be unbelievable. I need to take a walk. We got Weston McKennie.
Well, no,
calm
you
down
need
a little bit.
you would need to
pool.
stay seated. You would need to stay seated for quite an extended amount of time. Do not stand up, Shakes.
But that's where we are right now. It's like, okay, if Juventus sign Locatelli, then they might feel like they can unload to, one or two of their midfielders. And then Weston McKennie had a relationship with Paratici. Paratici went to Spurs, sold. We got him. It's like, that's the game I play right now at this point.
Yep.
It's like a choose your own adventure book.
It's just tough. Being a Spurs fan is tough. We all knew it'd be tough.
Did you like that straight swap rumor? It was reported on ESPN. ESPN, like, get your shit straight, ESPN. It was Ndombele straight up for that other midfielder that was at Lyon.
Oh, OR?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like someone they value at 30 mil and Spurs had like $45 million offers for Ndombele. It's like, why would they ever do this? I don't know.
I wouldn't mind OR. That's the hardest thing to say. No, just because I can't say his name well. Yeah, then there are 4 vowels in the first name or the last name. That's too tough for me. Yeah. This is a great one from Jerry. Well, we've previously learned that Spurs are much like the type of gals from Bucky's past. He's got a type. My type is pain, Jerry. My type is pain. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the new season. It was great to.
Are you excited?
Yeah. Yes, okay. because it's pure fireworks. I don't know what to expect. It's like going into a movie that isn't really hyped. And let's say like the Pianist, right? You remember that film?
Was that Adrian Brody? Who was that?
Yes, that was Adrian Brody, I believe.
Yeah.
The Pianist. I didn't know what to think of The Pianist. Everybody was hyping The Pianist. It won, and this is not like a gag, anybody. I'm really talking about The Pianist here. Pianist won the Oscar for Best Picture. Well, I saw it when it came out just because the gal, Jerry, one of the gals from my past, really wanted to go see this film. Hi, Nuno. I see it. So I see the film, and this thing was a big old gassy fart. This thing stunk out loud. I couldn't believe what I was watching. But then it won the Oscar for Best Picture. So it was like somebody knew what was going on with this. Like somebody understood this big old gassy fart mess. And I didn't. But that's this. Sometimes you go see a film that you don't expect to be that good. No-name director. Movie that sticks out to me would be Slumdog Millionaire.
Great flick. Or what's the one that you were hyping up? It was done by the was it the South Korean filmmaker that won the Best Picture?
Oh yeah, Parasite.
Yeah, Parasite.
Parasite still that's in my top 10 movies. That's a fantastic film.
Yeah.
But my point is, I don't know what to expect. It could be a gassy fart, or it could be an Oscar winner, or it could be both at one time, just like The Pianist.
Do you think it's going to be closer to like business same as usual as Jose, or do you think it'll look a lot different still? Like,
no, it's going to look the same.
You think it's going to look the same?
Yeah.
You think it'll be like Nuno arguing about like pragmatically setting up and Spurs just couldn't go forward and just see, I don't think it'll be like that bad. I really think like he's got like marching orders to like play with more adventure. It could start poorly, but I go back to that Spurs DNA thing that Levy talks about, which which is hilarious because nowhere in our DNA does it say, leave the Prem and the whole FA altogether and form your own super club, but your super league team. But it does feel like he's like hell bent on bringing back a different brand of ball, which might excite you.
Players with the
which
same
might
players.
Excite you.
No. It's with the same players. This doesn't excite you. Know what excites me? The Utes. I need the Utes in there.
You need the fresh blood, the new blood.
Yeah, I need Ollie Skip in there. It was a bit troubling to not see him play. Is he hurt?
Well, he broke his foot. I mean,
oh, did he?
Well, like second from last game in the championship.
Okay, fair.
And he just started. He was at training though, like a week or two ago. So I'm sure we're easing in with that. And it does sound though, at least though, like Skip and Sess are staying Bucks. So think of it like the Utes from, the loan. So you might have Skip, Sess, and Yon, like those guys back in your life. So you can hang your hat on that. And then hopefully guys like Niall John and Dane Scarlett will get loaned out, Troy Parrott, and come back and be those guys.
Do you think Skip comes before Winks on the team sheet?
Yes, unequivocally, yes. I think if they got Winks might be one of the few guys you actually see get transferred out because he might have some value being an English-born player, the right manager thinking like, well, I can turn him back into what he was in 2018. So he seems to have a sneakier amount of value than a couple other players being transferred out. And for that, I shouldn't even say value as much as like maybe a few extra suitors. So that's what you need like more than one team registering interest. You need like 6 so that, you can actually get a little market going for them.
Well, if you watch us play over the last 24 months, you're not going to get too much interest. Except for a couple of players.
This is where it goes back to the manager ego, Bucks. You need like a guy like Klopp to be like, oh, I can turn him back into what he was. He'll be the next Wijnaldum.
Where we were. So the list of potential incoming transfers, it's short. It's concerning how short this list is. It's concerning, at least on the surface level, that we're not even in the mix for any of these big names. Thankfully, the Dybala rumors got shot down very quickly this year, which is a relief. We might get a Dybala sighting here late August.
It'll be from like the mirror. The mirror
just to
reports.
Come in and put the dagger in the back. That's what it's going to feel like when I see that name again with Tottenham. But Pierluigi Golini apparently is a done deal. I have questions about this deal though. So it's a $2 million loan. That seems like a steep loan, at least from my perspective. For a guy with very limited exposure there at Atalanta. I think it was just about 2 years. Loan option to buy, and we have to purchase for 15 mil, and this is all euros, based on a matches played threshold. So
did they disclose the matches played number?
No, they're never going to. That's just going to be proverbial nightmare dust that will haunt me.
So
I don't know.
It could be 3. It could be 30.
So we're going to, all right, let's just say worst case scenario. Hugo gets hurt like week.
Right. That's where I was going with this.
If Hugo gets hurt week 20, right? And then we start Golini for 14 matches. What if that threshold was 15? And maybe Golini didn't play well. What are we doing with Joe Hart? I think Joe Hart's gone.
Yeah.
Joe Hart, didn't he just sign an extension?
I think he's there and he's just going to be the third keeper and he'll get his little minutes here and there and just be the guy in the clubhouse, hopefully keeping it all together.
He
does
seem like a clubhouse
He's playing
guy.
Cricket with everybody and, their soccer tennis game. So what would be funnier is though they don't want to hit that threshold, so then they keep starting Joe Hart in the Prem, and then we like really get our asses handed to us just because we don't want to hit like the buy threshold that we set for ourselves. That would be
listen to what we sound like, Shakes. We are desperate housewives. Like, what do we do?
I just want to let everyone know what worst case scenario is because it's not our money. Sure, spend 15 mil on this goalkeeper. I mean, shit, Chelsea spent 75 on Kepa.
I
So
know. He doesn't
whatever.
even play. He doesn't even play.
It would just be hilarious. So like Joe Hart gets to start after letting up 4 goals on 6 shots against Crystal Palace. that's like Spurs hell bent on making sure not to qualify that transfer.
I mean,
for Pelini.
best case is that Galini comes in and he's lights out and he's just crushing it. And we don't have a choice but to extend because Hugo's out of contract. But listen to the way we talk, Shakes. Listen to the way we talk.
It starts
This has to
and ends
feel
in negativity.
realistic. This has to seem realistic. And I hope that this resonates with everybody out there. But this is the torture of this club. This is the torture of Daniel Levy. And I don't know where I land with the fact that we're bringing in Galini. I think the price point is good if he's good.
I mean, he was a keeper at Atalanta, and he's 26 years old, Bucks. He's not
played in the UCL. He's got experience. This is good. This is all good stuff. Yeah, but I don't really understand the move. Like, why not target your guy? Make sure you pull him in. If you dangle strings in front of Daniel Levy, he's going to pull the strings. That's my concern. That's why I'm laughing at this. He now has the power. I would rather just be, this is our guy. Paratici identified him. And sure, if we get $2 million loan, he starts in the conference league. He, builds on some Carabao Bang energies. That'd be great. Get him some time. But if that threshold is a real thing and he's been marginal, right? He's a young keeper. He's 26. So I think that's like not quite prime, but almost there. So he's still a young keeper, not that young. 6'4", attractive fella. You know how I feel about attractive goalkeepers.
Plays for Atalanta, so he's got some experience playing out of the back. Like Man U recruited him, right? Didn't he? Yeah. Was he on like the Man U youth team for a little bit?
Man U youth team. So I think there's a player there. I'm just questioning the structure of this deal. And there's too many loopholes that Daniel Levy can exploit. That concerns me. I'm happy we're getting a guy in. The fact that it's a goalkeeper first, I actually think that was a key need to address. And I'm looking forward to seeing what this guy has because on paper, he seems to be an up-and-comer, and he's a guy that I'm excited to watch. Fact is, we probably have the best goalkeeper in the world currently under staff in Hugo Lloris. So
I don't know about best in the world, but do you believe
best in the world? Who's your best in the world?
Do you believe any credence to the Hugo to Roma rumors? Because Jose wants him?
No, I would say Hugo returns to France.
That seems to make more sense.
Swan song.
He's captain of Spurs. That would get Kane the armband.
Maybe enough to convince him to stay. Hey, Harry, we couldn't give it to you while there was another option, but now there really isn't.
We know you have it for your national club.
Please stay, sweet Harry. Please stay. Here's the armband.
So, Bucks, here's what I'm holding my hope on before we get into all the other exciting transfer news for Spurs. I just think the insertion of Skip could do some things. I'm just going to throw all my shit in the ring for Skip. He's coming back. He had a great stint for Norwich, where he was arguably one of their best 3-4 players. We need help in the holding mid-range. He plays as a defensive midfielder. We have two very offensive midfielders in GLC and in Ndombele. So it just feels like he's a missing piece for Spurs. Just like you're excited about Niall John, which could be real in 4 or 5 years. I'm just excited for the return of Skip.
Okay.
A lot of pressure I'm putting on Skip right now.
4 or 5 years for Niall John seems off if you're hyped
23.
about Oliver Skip. Oliver Skip is 20 or 21.
Yeah, but he's way further along.
He is way further along, but I saw enough. Listen, if there's anything you can value me on, it's my youth player prospecting. I know what these cats are going to do.
Skip will be 21 at the start of the season.
There you go.
September.
Okay. When is Niall John 19?
Oh, I don't know. You tell me, Niall John fan.
I should have prepped.
Yeah.
Look him up.
You're gonna have to really scroll down on the team sheet to find him. Yeah, I like Niall John. It's just I feel like these expectations are kind of unfair to him that you're setting.
unfair or not, these are my expectations and mine alone. And
He-
the buck
he
stops
turns-
here.
He turns 19 in March.
I know he's a long ways away.
Yeah. He's
He's a long ways away.
He hasn't played for any other level but a U18 or U23 team.
He's ready to go. This cat is ready for
Just crack him
ready
out
for
the
the
box,
Premier
baby.
League lights. Yep. He showed enough flash, a little bit of salt and pepper. I like a little bit of spice.
Move over in Ndombele and Lo Celso. I actually think Lo
Right.
Celso is going to be good this year too. He looked good for Argentina.
What are your
And-
thoughts?
And Ndombele in a year to try to prove himself to get on the World Cup squad. We can sell this, Bucks. Guys with shit to prove.
Jerry nonstop with the hits. But just think of that Nile John pod 5 years from now.
Yeah.
That's
I told you,
That's-
Shakes. Can we call it a win?
listen.
Can we call it a win?
Let's I gotta set a calendar reminder for me. What is today's date?
In 2026.
Monday, July 19. We're setting a calendar for 2026. I don't even think my calendar extends that far. Just because
It'll be
it knows my vitals, so it probably thinks I'll be dead by then. So let's
He'll be in some
let's
throwaway
keep
and playing
tracking.
for Pep's Man City, like dominating. Like, I told you.
I will say, Jerry, if this club continues on its current trajectory, I will not be around for 5 years. This club will kill me. I've said it before, and I mean, I'm just scrolling here. This is a lot of months without Nile John coming into prominence.
Well, it's like
Like, this
60.
You're so stupid. Nile John, welcome party.
You should start following him on Instagram right now.
It's actually going to be the title of this episode, Nile John, welcome party.
5 years from now, Bucks. Still have Chiellini in the back for Italy.
Yeah, still winning.
Where's
All right.
Kane? Where's Kane in 5 years? It's like 33.
Official. July 2026, the 19th.
Oh, it'll be a
John,
Sunday. Good.
Nile John welcome party. There it is. Yeah. Yeah. No, I know, Linda. There's a lot going on in my life, man. I live in a ghost compound. I deal with ghouls and goblins all goddamn day.
Just watch Sopranos in the dark, eating
I watched-
McDonald's. You're the one painting this picture, not me. I'm just
My life is a hollow shell, Shakes. I'm just, for listeners out there, if you are concerned, I'm doing just fine. It's just I tend to be a bit emotional, and I do fear that the heart palpitations, they will get stronger with 5 more years of watching this fucking club.
I like
it
Ian
just-
Ferguson. We still haven't sold Winks by this point in
Yeah,
2026.
all right,
with-
yeah, let's
yeah.
let me add a
with
counterparty to that.
Yeah.
We're gonna-
Is Winks still on the team? Question mark. And Eric Dyer? Question mark. Question mark.
All right, this is actually
Yeah.
good. I like that we're getting these on paper. We need this.
Our own put it on the board.
Is Harry Winks still on Spurs?
Who's on the team longer, Winks or Dyer?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I would say Dyer.
Who's on the team longer, Toby or Dave?
Toby. Dave. Shit. Neither.
At the same time, there's
Yeah.
both transferred out at once. When
We
Spurs
get a
wake up to
2-for-1 swap.
valuations. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Dave is all Europe.
That'll be the rumor that I'm sure I'll despise the most. Like, Toby wants to move to Royal Antwerp. Royal Antwerp offering 9 mil, but Spurs only value him at 12. And it'll be like, just pull the fucking deal. Like, we just like, he's 33 years old. He doesn't want to be here. Like,
We need to have a Shark Tank like episode where I come to you and you're like Cuban, and we basically throw out different valuations of players. And
Yeah.
you're just like, just take the fucking deal. Like, But then I make the argument like, well, I really look at this guy. I value him a lot higher than that. I know he's 33. I know he's on the downward spiral of his career. I know he wants to leave. But I simply can't take this price. And then you just scold me for like 12 minutes straight. And then we drop the deal. And honestly, that would probably be the greatest parallel to what actually happens in those boardrooms with Levy.
I also like in Shark Tank how like there will be an offering and then they'll just completely revamp the deal and then just on the spot ask them to accept it, yes or no. Like you have 10 seconds to respond to this. He's like, well, I guess I got to figure out the math. Like I gotta do this. No,
the answer is always no at that point. He didn't make the offer. He's the guy that can never compromise. There's no compromise. Everything ridiculous. Is evident.
It's like the Sissoko one. I think that's where it all started. It's like, who was it that wanted Sissoko from Italy?
Oh, there's a funny meme today. I didn't want to share it because it hurts so much, but I have to. There's a meme today regarding if Spurs had invested 33 million or whatever it was, 27 million in Bitcoin instead of Musa Sissoko, that would now be valued at 1.92 billion that they could spend on transfers. And it stung me, Shakes. It stung, but it's right. We would be flush with cash. Well, we'd be flush with crypto.
And we'd still be haggling over the Toby Alderweireld price.
Question, how does it work with crypto? I've never actually tried to get mine out. Is there a way to get that in actual cash?
Yeah, man, just transfer it to either your hard wallet or to a brokerage exchange that for dollars. You might have to go to Bitcoin first, though, if you have an alternate crypto. So you have to go alternate crypto to Bitcoin or maybe Ethereum, a couple others, and then from there you exchange it for US dollars.
This seems like a lot.
I'll give you a list of brokerages, too, that don't report to the IRS. Just kidding, IRS, if you listen.
The fact is, I think I've invested far too much in this rabbit hole that I have no idea what's going on. Today was a great day in the market, but moving on.
Oh, yeah. Hey, how about that Delta variant? Yeah. Maybe we just want to have soccer. Good. Maybe, hey, remove us from the misery. Just no soccer anyway.
It's another opportunity, I guess.
Oh, chaos is a ladder, Bucks.
That's the way you spin it. You bloodsuckers.
It was an Italian club, but they were just like, they were put off by Spurs' valuation of Sissoko. I'm like, what could that have been? Like you buy him for like even know. 17 to 20 and then keep him for 4 or 5 years. He's like over 30. And then you're like, no, I need 16 mil for him. Like, what could they have said?
16 mil
like,
for
but like, what was the number? Yeah.
Like you could go out and get a 22-year-old up and coming stud for 16 million. What team is going to invest that? And this is a player I love dearly. He's my favorite player on Spurs. It will kill me when he goes, where do I go without you? I don't know. I want to know. But it's one of those things where you got to chalk it up. It's done. His time is run out here. Get the money. We could have had 1.92 billion right now. 1.92 billion. That would have been a day. If Spurs had 1.92 billion of just flush cash, like liquid, would they even spend $1 billion of it?
Over time, hopefully. But no, I would be pessimistic, Bucks, that it got spent accordingly.
We'd probably buy like a bungee jump platform for the top of the stadium.
Would we have made the stadium even more ridiculous?
I mean, we could add a few things. There's a lot going on in there, but they could add a few things. There could be an amusement park. That's probably top because people got to pay to get in. People got to pay for popcorn, ice cream. People got to pay for soda.
This is harsh, but would they have still furloughed their employees?
Good Lord. I hope not.
Yeah, that's a joke. I'm sure they wouldn't have.
I hope not, but we could have been flush with cash.
Yeah.
All right, some other names that I've heard whispered about here. Christian Romero from Juventus, who's currently on loan at Atalanta, center back, 23 years old. I don't know much about this fella, but apparently We've been talking about him as we've been negotiating for Golini. Cool.
Well, how close are we to Tomiyasu?
Well, Tomiyasu, it seems like we're on the cusp. I think we're just, a standard Levy 1.8 million off.
It's probably not even that.
Apparently, he wants to come here. The club is now posturing. The club is saying we have at least 4 offers for him higher than what Spurs are offering. He wants to go to Spurs. It's time to step up to the plate. But Levy's sitting there thinking about a water slide, as Ian says. Water slides are expensive.
You know what? I hate transfer time. I've decided it's just a fucking chore, Bucks. It's a chore.
It is.
Who wants to deal with Spurs? Seriously.
It's been easier this year than ever because there's just nothing out there. And the players that are named, it's not like it's going to move the needle.
I think what I did read was something like Spurs want 18, they're demanding 19.5. Like it was something that close.
Yes, it was. And it's embarrassing. And Levy needs to sit in the corner with a dunce hat on.
Settle down, buddy. Sound like shakes now.
Jules Koundé. This is the deal that just sounds insane to me. What the last thing I read, which is like 4 days ago, is this deal stands on an insane 30 million paid for Jules Koundé to Sevilla, plus Dave Sanchez. So is there a 65 million valuation on this fella?
What?
How is there 65 million for this fella? I know he's a good player. Sevilla has been a fantastic defensive output for the last couple of seasons, but how does that make any sense?
So, hold on, I'm pulling up his transfer market valuation now because I have to do some investigative research.
Here
we
go.
at 66 million. So, do you have Dave then?
35.
I guess Dave, 35. And he plays center back pretty much, right? He doesn't play right back.
Yeah.
Okay. So, golly, Bucks. I mean, I feel like that seems like a lot, but again, not my money, and I get making the change. And honestly, I can't rip on Levy for not making any changes whatsoever and not like paying that extra couple bucks. So I guess I should treat the player valuation kind of similar. So if we're going to have to really overvalue this player or kind of undervalue Dave, then if that kind of mixes it out and gets the fresh blood in there and you knew Dave wasn't in your plans, and I think you got to pull the trigger. My question is just, when you see a guy that's like bought by Sevilla for 28 mil or whatever it was from Bordeaux less than 2 years ago, is it suddenly worth that extra 40 million? Like, I'd like to be on that side of things of the deal normally, not the other side paying for that.
Is there also the chance that we're just swapping a Dave for a Dave?
For sure. Being that he's not like a finished product, I would imagine, at age 22, and you just don't know how he fits with the Sevilla team. He must just play well with all those guys. So, I feel like not every center back's plug and play. For every Diaz and Van Dijk, there's some ones that don't hit. Like
there's
Stones,
a lot of don't hits.
Laporte.
There's a lot of don't hits. Or Ben White, as Ian alludes to here. Where does Arsenal have 50 mil to spend on Ben White? We can't do 25. It's a valid concern.
It's a great question, Ian. I wanted to bring that up, but Buck said, let's not pick on Arsenal.
I didn't say let's not pick on. I said let's not discuss them. But our listeners brought it to the forefront. That's what they want to talk about. Yeah, I don't know where they have that kind of money.
Whoa, Chicharito is on Seville.
Chicharito's still playing?
Yeah, wait, hold on. Yeah, Sevilla. There he is.
He's a fella I respect. Little grinder. He's good. The last player I want to talk about was Danny Ings. There's still whispers out there. I think there's no shot in hell.
Zero shot. Move on. And it's zero. It's not a need.
It is. What do you mean it's not?
Well, it's not. Sorry. Spurs need a backup striker, but do they need to spend 30, 35 mil on a striker?
No.
Okay. Well, they're not going to get Danny Ings for 20 million.
I would love to see Danny Ings wearing the white jersey. I
mean, it would be cool. I'm in on that, but at the same time, I'm realistic.
What'd you think of the new kit?
The one where it's like acid trip?
No. But just the one they wore on Saturday.
Oh, the whites? Yeah, I like them. They're super duper plain, but I kind of like that.
I do too.
I like the old school look. I still wish we talked about this. You'd rather a little bit of an accent or a border around the sleeve, maybe. Doesn't even have to be the collar, just the sleeve. But I give it like an 8 out of 10. It's not its best effort, but I like it when you go back to the classic versus trying to get a little wonky and it not work out.
Yeah. The problem I have with this Ings thing is that we haven't heard whispers of many other strikers. There was like a young fella. I forget where he was playing. This is great radio.
There's just one young guy.
There's a couple of young fellas out there on the market. Shakes looked him up on Transfer Marked. They were like, they're like 6 million. Who knows? I don't have any faith in the current forward progression. All it takes is to see Galini holding up the jersey, though, holding up the kit. That'll make my day. Let's get into a few listener questions here to wrap. All right. I like this one. It's from Brian Lozen. Of all the center backs we have been linked with and those that we currently have in the squad, who do you think is the most realistic combo for Spurs next season? Starting center back tandem or trio, depending on how you think we set up, because we have another question about setup and approach. We can kind of combine that.
So this is all new players, or this is just how does one play? So like if it's Tomiyasu, it's like he plugs in with Davis on the left as the left-sided center back, and then to the right of him would be Tanganga.
Probably.
Back three. That would be the one that seems the most realistic.
What about Roden?
So I'm in with Roden too, because Roden, and don't be upset, I know the sack is your boy, but Roden could be on the right side as the center back too. He's right-footed and he's played both sides. And if you want more of a leader back there in the form of Davis, because he's the older statesman, then I would probably take Roden over Tanganga on the right.
All right. So what do you think we go 3 at the back, or do you think we go with 2?
If Spurs, it depends on Davis. If Davis is thought of as like Kyle Walker you saw for England, and I thought Kyle Walker was like their best player for that team, the way they were forced to set up by their super conservative manager where it ended up biting them in the ass. So I think if Davis is geared up for left-sided center back, then it would play into probably pushing out Tanganga. If Davis thinks he's better as a wing back and he wants to fight Reggie for it, which I think Reggie wins on that 10 times out of 10 as a wing back, not a fullback, then you have a different conversation. Where do Roden and Tanganga fit? If I'm hierarchying it, Bucks, it's Roden above Tanganga, but then the Davis one is the question mark. And he would slide above those guys if he wants to be the left-sided center back. It's tough to find a left-footed
Toby in there
center
as
back.
well. Toby in there as well.
Toby's gone in this scenario for me.
Okay.
He's someone that I actually think could get transferred out because I just think logic will have to prevail. If he said, I want to leave, if in this scenario too, I'm pretending I'm actually taking it on like Dave is gone as well.
Wow.
I mean, I think it's more likely Toby and Dave are gone more than Winks and Dyer.
If that's the case, I think it would actually look more like Davis on the left-hand side of the 3 at the back. I think you have Roden in the middle, Tanganga on the right. And that's terrifying, but also intriguing.
But I thought the question was like, how does the transfers in fit with this?
Well, Tomiyasu, listen, I have no faith that we're going to get anything over the line. So I'm strictly thinking about what we currently have.
Well, that's not
now.
good.
If it was up to me, I would say I would prefer to get Jules Condé in. He's in. He's starting. And then you have Roden on one side and then Tanganga or Davis on the other. Figure it out.
Yeah, that's fine by me.
Okay.
What would you rather have? Would you rather have like 2 guys that are like 30 million, 20 million euro center backs? Or would you rather have like one, like apparently this guy, Jules, like who's 60 million, and then just play him with the other guys you have?
I would rather get the one player with the
It's
high
kind of like, would you rather
valuation.
have a couple quarters, 4 quarters or $1? It's like one of those types of.
I think about it like in the NFL, where you can just start a 6-round draft pick at one cornerback side, but you need that lockdown corner. You need to spend on that lockdown corner, 1st-round draft pick, or you're paying up the ass for him. That's what I feel like we need to do here with center back. That's our.
So you don't want Tomiyasu to come in, because that would probably mean then Spurs are getting,
let me
other.
take it back. Let me take a step back. I forgot about Dyer for a second. Dyer in the very middle, Roden on the right side, Davis on the left. That's what I think most logical is for what we have currently. If Koundé comes in, I think that both Dyer and Koundé get in there.
So the other thing, though, I've read is Koundé rejected this altogether. Like, he just didn't want to play for Spurs. He didn't think they were a top club. So maybe this is just an exercise in futility. But, I mean, I don't know, Bucks. I think I lean that way of going with the more expensive center back versus like the sum of parts one. But I don't know. It's not like those guys have all impressed because they've been on the team the last 2-3 years. And it's not like Spurs have this incredible back line. So it's tough. I mean, the other key, I guess, will now be if Jules Koundé doesn't want to play for Spurs, like, will the other top center backs want to do that either?
Does anyone want to play for Spurs?
I do.
Oh, I know you do.
I have a question for you.
I feel like we go to shit, though, with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Acid Spurs trip kit. You've seen it, I assume.
Yeah.
Love it, hate it, indifferent?
Until I see it watching on a telecast, I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm in between. I do think that me being the guy I am who wears flashy football kits out to the pub, I could see myself getting on that train if it looks good in person.
I think I love it, the Acid Trip kit.
Really?
My question is, do I get it for skip, or do I wait and see if a player surprises us and emerges like 3 months in, and then I get the kit for that player?
Get a skip.
Just get a skip Acid Trip?
Yep.
Skip Trip?
Acid Trip or Acid Skip.
I'm in.
God, I blew that.
Yeah, it's fine.
We've been going a long time.
What other questions do we have before we wrap this up?
We got quite a few.
Damn it.
I said, transfers in heavy with my call for questions. Jayhawk responds with, will there actually be any?
Signs point to no.
Signs do point to no. We got one here from Stormy. We make 3 transfers. Who? He's got Tomiyasu, Koundé, Insigne. What do y'all think? Only from targets mentioned from rumors. I'm going to say Golini. Number 1, I'm going to say Tomiyasu. I do think that gets over the line once Levy moves around a couple popcorn kernels. And I have no idea on the third. That's how disheartened I am. I have no clue. If I were to take a stab at it, it seems like the Italian and Spanish clubs are more willing to sell right now. So maybe Christian Romero. I don't know a thing about that fella. But when I think about a center back, you bring in him, Tomiyasu. The problem I have there is there's no creativity that we brought in on the midfield spots. So we got to rely on one guy and one guy alone, and that's Nile John.
It all comes back to Nile John.
It does. What about you?
I like Tanguy and Ndamble in that role instead of Nile John. I'm in agreement, I guess. I just, unless it's player for player stuff, I don't know how a big name gets over the line. And then you go back to, does the big name, or at least the up and coming player that's got this valuation that's over 50 million, even want to come here like Koundé? So I don't think Insigne is coming, or Mobley, or basically.
I would love Insigne.
I just don't think that happens unless it's some sort of like, Paratici's the godfather of his children or something and just called in a favor.
So a miracle from God.
Never know. Never know. I guess I don't know the connection with everyone. I mean, Paratici has all these what? He's like best friends with like two of the agents that just shuffle around players. Like it's all one deck of cards. So maybe there's something there, but I'm still a little negative, Bucks.
Oh, well, clearly.
Until I see pen to paper.
Well, we have hit rock bottom in that we are banking on an act of God to get this through.
For sure. After a 75-day manager search.
Was it you or is it me that's been watching Sopranos nonstop for 2 weeks?
It's been you, for sure.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, I need to go to church. I need to figure this out. All right, we'll wrap it here with one final question. Are we underestimating how much we need a creative type midfielder to link up and play and add another dimension, i.e. Sabitzer? I don't think Sabitzer is the answer. I honestly wasn't that impressed with him throughout Euro. I think he does some very good things, but I don't think he's what Spurs need. I'll just say this. I think that Tanguy and Ndombele and Lo Celso, this is kind of the put up or shut up year. So I would rather go that angle, put them in a position where they can try to be more creative and see what we have. We need to realize those are still younger players. Yes, they've been at Spurs, but we haven't had enough time. And that, honestly, I think that's my partial, I'm looking through this with, white glasses on, but I need it to happen this year. And I'm willing to wait on the talent there because I think the talent is there for both players. And with Skip coming in, I think it does free up their ability to push up a bit further. And what we saw from Delhi in that preseason game, it's early on. I thought he was working out hard in Dubai. Didn't see it. So do we progress? I hope we can. And I hope we can get some players up there in that sort of pseudo 10 role that figure out how to make sure that they're playing a progressive passing game and also using the dribble. Obviously, Ndombele more indirect with the dribble than Lo Celso. Lo Celso is so direct on that dribble. It might be two different means to the end there. So I'd rather see what we have with those two players in a better position than what we've had to insert them in over the last season and a half. What are your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, if Skip can really do some work here and you do play a back three, then obviously center back is by far the most incoming transfer concern for Spurs because I don't know what right wing back will look like. To me, I think that also would be super important. I mean, great to have Doherty, sure, with Nuno, but I just think you got to get more dynamic there, Bucks. Because I actually think Ndombele and Lo Celso could do some things in the right setup. So if you are talking a back three with Skip sitting right in front of the back three, so it's like you have back three, then Skip, and then it can be Hoj next to one of Ndombele or Lo Celso. That seems like something that you could put together. Then you have Kane and Son up top, and you have the two wing backs. So whether it's Lo Celso and Ndombele kind of rotating shifts in that way with Skip right above them or Højbjerg right below them, I should say, playing deeper. I'm willing to try that stuff out. It's just you got to improve somewhere. You got to either improve with a better distributing center back that's also just better at defense, and then also you got to improve at wing back if you think that you got the right horses in the midfield. Otherwise, you got to replace those guys. But I mean, I go back to when Spurs were most dynamic. It's because their fullbacks were tremendous too. It wasn't just like Kane was great and Dele was great and then fell off the face of the earth or whatever. It's just like when you talk these formations too, Buck, especially back three, I just don't know where Dele's going to fit. I really don't. I mean, unless Spurs played 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 just to like set this all up for Dele, which doesn't seem like, unfortunately, he's currently at a level of play where that's worth like kind of building it around him. I just don't know how he fits in. Like, I don't even know if you're Nuno, like where you tell him to start playing. It's like, hey, I'm going to play a 4-3-3 and you're going to be the left-sided, midfielder. It's like, well, Lo Celso's better at Dele than that. So
he showed that for Argentina.
Yeah. So, it's just the bummer. It's like, what do you do with Dele? The Dele question.
It was almost like I read a couple of tweets. It's like a dog and pony show with players that were advertising with that preseason match. So Lucas, Dele, Dyer, Winks. Hey, come look at the ponies. except they're not ponies. They're just not that good. Ponies can run well. It didn't look great. 1-1 Leyton Orient, not fantastic. Danny Shakes, thank you for the entertainment as always. I appreciate your input. We'll go ahead and wrap. Danny Shakes, sign the people off.
Pleasure's all mine, Bucks. And let's go. Let's get out of this transfer just lull that we're in. Get some players in. And let's get a little more optimistic, Bucks. Let's do it. Come on, you Spurs.
The optimism is very apparent by the tone of my voice for the last hour and a half, Shakes. COYS, get it done. Beat the squeeze out from Levy. Beat the squeeze.